Hi, so if you've been following me since about December, you may remember that I started seeing a doctor in Nicaragua and navigating the healthcare system there so that way I could find a dermatologist that could give me answers on why I was having acne problems, but more importantly, to help treat the acne problems that I was experiencing. During my time in Nicaragua, I was having a lot of acne problems. I first saw a dermatologist back in the States right before I left the US for my trip to Nicaragua. The dermatologist wanted me to do 2 courses of really harsh antibiotics along with increasing the spironolactone that I was taking, as well as continuing taking retin-A or using retin-A on my skin, and then using some clindamycin, which those recommendations was fine. I've done it in the past. They have worked in the past, but then they've also stopped working in the past, and I really wasn't sure where to go next, but I knew that I needed some help because my skin was really bad. So in this video, I'm going to show you pictures of my skin along my journey. I am going to talk about the side effects that I experienced, and I am going to show you where my skin is at right now. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comments. And if you are wondering about the journey where I first started off in Nicaragua, I do have a link included in the description to a playlist of the videos that I did while I was in Nicaragua related to my acne journey. So in this first picture, it was taken in November 7th. I was in Mexico and I had some acne going on. So I took pictures that kind of hid what was really obvious. And in December 13th, I reached out to a dermatologist in Nicaragua, and she said that she would be able to see me, which was great news for me. I wasn't near Managua at the time, but I was able to get back to Managua in order to see her. So on December 15th, I met with the dermatologist. She evaluated my skin. She understood the distress feeling that I was experiencing because of my acne, and felt that my acne was severe, and wondered why no one offered me isotretinoin in the past, especially since I had recently seen a dermatologist, and she felt that my skin was at that point where I should have been offered something more than just some antibiotics to clear up my skin. So in addition to seeing the dermatologist, she wanted me to get some lab work done, and she wanted me to see a GYN because she wanted to evaluate it just to make sure I didn't have PCOS. Started isotretinoin on December 16th. And then this is the picture from December 24th, and you can take a look at my skin and see how bad my acne was. And this picture is January 17th, which is 1 month from when I first started the isotretinoin. And but at that point in January, I was back in the States. So one thing I had to consider is that I returned to the States with only 3 months supply of the isotretinoin, and that I would have to find a doctor in the US to prescribe me the isotretinoin. Now, getting a prescription in the United States is a little different from getting a prescription in Nicaragua. In Nicaragua, they do not have the iPledge program, and it's not heavily regulated like it is in the United States. So in order to start the medication in Nicaragua, you just need to have a negative birth control test, and they do a basic metabolic panel as well as a lipid panel to see where you're at, and if your labs come back good, you can start the medication. However, in the States, there's a 30-day waiting period after you produce a negative test, a negative pregnancy test. So in the US, you have to go to a doctor who has privileges to prescribe isotretinoin. Any doctor cannot prescribe the medication to you. They have to be someone that is in the iPledge system and have the authority to prescribe that medication for you. And I don't think that nurse practitioners and PAs are able to prescribe the medication. I could be wrong, and if I am, you could let me know in the comments. But along with that, there is a 30-day waiting period, so you have to do a negative test. You have to produce a negative pregnancy test, then wait 30 days, and then do another negative pregnancy test before you can start the medication in the States. And you have to have a profile on iPledge, do the training, answer questions, and every month before you get a new prescription, you have to go on iPledge after producing a negative pregnancy test, and then your provider will release the prescription. Also in Nicaragua, my provider, she wanted me to do lab works once a month. However, the doctor in the States, once I transferred over to her, she only checked my lab work the first month I was on the medication, and after that she never checked my lab work again. February 3rd, I found a doctor through SkyMD, which the dermatologist that I was supposed to see as a follow-up in Arizona. He recommended I go on SkyMD since I was no longer in Arizona, and he said that they would be able to prescribe me the medication. I did find somebody, and my experience with that person was not very positive. When I told her I was already taking the medication, I got it from Nicaragua, she was really negative about the whole situation, and she kept on emphasizing FDA regulations on why I shouldn't be taking the medication. They prescribed me the medication after I waited that 30-day period and produced the negative pregnancy test twice. And this is a picture from March 15th where I started the isotretinoin. She started me at 30 milligrams once a day, and I think after a month she increased it to 30 milligrams twice a day. This is a picture from April 1st. Some of the side effects that I experienced, some of the more common expected side effects was the dry lips, dry eyes, being tired all the time. I just felt like I had no energy, painful joints, weight gain, and frequent urination. Now, I don't know if the medication is what causes the weight gain, or you gain weight because you're tired and your joints hurt and you have muscle ache all the time. So then you don't want to do anything, you don't want to exercise. So then you end up gaining weight. Some unusual side effects that I experienced, and I've seen other people when I looked on blogs talk about this, is that their tolerance for spicy foods went down like tremendously, and that was the same thing for me. I could not eat spicy foods anymore after starting the medication, whereas before, when I would go to like Indian restaurants, I would order food that were more on the medium to hot end of the spectrum, and I could not do that anymore. Like if I went to an Indian place and ordered something that was even medium in spice, it would feel like my tongue was on fire and it was peeling off. And I had a very low tolerance for warm showers. I could not spend a lot of time in the showers, and just everything felt like I was standing in a pit of hell while I was on the medication. But now that I'm off of the medication, I can tolerate warm showers. I have not tried spicy foods again, so I don't know if I can tolerate it. Another side effect that I experienced was brown spots I would get on the back of my arms when I spend time out in the sun for any extended period of times, or from having my hands on the steering wheel when I was driving. I often noticed it like the next day when I spent time, or my hands spent time in the sun, because that's what was normally in the sun. Most of the other times I kept covered, mostly from head to toe. So my face was, besides my face and my palms, everything else was covered most of my journey. So I am not sure what was going on with the spots on the back of my arms. They would come and go. If I stayed out of the sun, they would leave, and I would exfoliate the back of my hands, and that would help them to go away, and put a lot of moisturizer like Eucerin in the back of my hands, and that would also help with those brown spots going. But once I spend an extensive period of time in the sun, they would come right back, from April 22nd when I was in Costa Rica, and then another one on May 28th when I was in Guatemala. So as you can see, my skin is getting better, it looks great. Then on June 10th, I got a huge pimple on my face. It was big, and it felt like a setback after going a little over a month without any breakouts. But the doctor assured me that that was normal, that having, this is a picture from June 19th where my breakout that I had on my cheek started clearing up. Here is a picture from July 15th. This was the day it was supposed to be my last pill for the Isotretinoin, but unfortunately I got into a car accident, and the airbag deployed and left an abrasion on my face. And one of my biggest concerns was that it would cause a scar, especially because I was on Isotretinoin. Fortunately for me, it did not cause any visible scars, and I took my last pill of the Isotretinoin the next day. This is a picture for me from July 20th and one on July 22nd, so officially a week after I stopped the medication. And then here's a picture from today and how my skin looks. I can say that I'm satisfied with the results, and it's not that I don't get any breakouts anymore, but they are very small compared to what I used to get. I do know the possibility of having more outbreaks in the future is there, and I will adjust them as they come, but right now I can say that I am satisfied with the treatment that I did, that I started in Nicaragua, and I continued when I returned to the States. If you have any questions about my acne journey, or any questions related to my treatment, please let me know. Leave it in the comments section. Hey, thank you. Bye.